Oh, dear masculine. Today I find myself amused once again with thoughts of anyone considering me a threat. It's so amusing because not only do I recognize my own power, sure, but it's always kind of baffled me because I've generally never been the type of person to allow my lesser nature to get the better of me. Oh, I've had my moments. You've seen many of them. You've probably seen the worst of me. And actually, once I came out of my own dark night of the soul and realized how controlled I was, even at my worst, it kind of made me laugh and actually boosted my own self worth to think, well, if that is me at my worst, then I am pretty darn awesome. Though, when talking with my soul tribe, some friends that I've really needed all my life, I recognized that the truth is not that I am a threat or not a threat. It is simply that when interacting with anyone who has challenges with control and who desires to grasp onto power as if it is their life source in such a predatory way, those individuals tend to recognize powers that are above and beyond them. And I just find it so charming in many ways to consider how having healthy boundaries and self worth and really just staying out of the mess, of not taking the bait, not walking through the gate, or not opening the door, how that is perceived as such a threat. Both to you when you are in karmic energy and to others. And it's not just those that have wrapped themselves around you in attempt to convince you that you are just like them. There are karmic energies that come into my vibration as well. From the tale of the story of me, both during and before the story of us. And it's such an interesting perspective to go from where I was so insecure, so worried about who might poke a hole in our connection and cause havoc, or how even just their presence in your mind might do the same thing. And now to feel myself sitting here feeling free of expectation, not in the energy of waiting, not attached to when or where or why, and just learning to enjoy life in whatever way it manifests. And following my whimsy, whether that is to reach out to you or go out and write in my journal with a simple drink at a bar, or working until my heart's content. You know, I have my earthiness in that way. Sometimes I go for nature walks and hug a few trees and laugh to myself to think that someone as gentle and kind as myself, who even has trouble, you could ask anyone else, who even has trouble seeing the worst in those who show their worst most often, to see, to observe in a detached manner the notion of anyone seeing me as a threat, to think that really what they fear and what you fear is not me. It is seeing themselves. It is being presented with someone who tells the truth. Someone who lives so authentically that even if you could dig up some sort of dirt on me, I would own it and not be afraid. and stand in the light of my own humanity. It's funny to me how that is perceived to be a threat. So much so that there are many who do their best to find something to scare me, to trigger me, to push me away, to convince me that I am, I don't even know, like lesser, crazy, weird. I mean, weird to me has never been bad. And amongst my soul tribe, it is to be exalted for that matter. It's fun to be the Mad Hatter. Why not? When everyone else is so worried about the court of public opinion, juggling ball after ball, trying to worry about what might happen if one of the balls falls and the world were to see they are not as perfect as they have appeared to be, with the irony being that everyone can see anyone who is wearing a mask and pretending to be fine when it's clear they are not. Though it's fine, I have gotten to a place where I no longer have such attachment to whether or not anyone wants to make me the villain of their story. Because anyone who would believe them needs to learn the lessons that the speaker needs to learn. And I have already earned my own self-love and recognition in my interactions with anyone who previously believed the fearful stories you shared when you felt the pull of genuine love scaring you. And any stories told by anyone else, I just kind of make note of them and laugh to myself that little old me could be so intimidating just in being free and no longer being concerned about threats and no longer worrying about whether or not my intuition is correct. And just knowing that everything works out. And most often in ways we don't expect. And often much better than anything that we had in mind when we learn to have no mind, to release control to spirit, and to learn to listen, to learn to hear it, to learn to enjoy just following our whimsy. And recognizing that endings are beginnings and triggers are for healing, and there is nothing to be threatened about when you love yourself and recognize that we are all on a healing journey. So, my love, my dear masculine, do what you need to. Think however feels best for you to think. And when you've learned to pay no mind to those who threaten to reveal your darker side, and when you've learned to recognize the difference between someone who is a threat because they really can and will hurt you, and someone who is a threat because they stand in the light, and that scares those who don't understand genuine love, who are fearful of giving themselves to anything that they cannot control. That is when I know that you will find me and you will tell me how funny you find yourself. To have learned that I was never a threat to you or anyone because of something that I've actually done that is threatening. No interfering, no controlling, no games of that sort. That I've only ever been a threat because they can tell that there is no way you can mess up with me. There is only love. And only love grows within me. Ain't it funny that that is so threatening?